there, you'll probably have the Stowe Ferry soon because they're trying to shut it down because it doesn't have an anchor.
Well, I was going to, you just took the words out of my mouth. I have two more subjects I want to talk about.
Yeah, well, the Stowe Ferry has everybody in Chautauqua dumbfounded by the idiocy of the state.
I'm a visitor here for the summer, and I come for the tourist attractions, and the ferry is one of the tourist attractions.
Absolutely, and it's ancient, and it's beautiful, and it's well run, and it's set up, and it doesn't need a golly darn anchor.
Well, I've got a small boat anchor, and they needed a GPS too last year, so maybe I'll get them a GPS so they don't get lost going from Stowe to Bemis Point. What do you think?
I think that's great because they asked them what size anchor, and the state didn't know. So any anchor should do it, being the fact that they are actually anchored to a great big line, steel cable out there.
Yeah, that kind of speaks about your Parks and Wildlife inspectors to me anyway.
These people are moronic, I think. I mean, that's my opinion.
My opinion, too. I have one more subject.
Sure.
I want you to hold the rain off for this afternoon.
Well, my daughter's camping over in Lake Erie State Park, and we're going over for a picnic, so I'd be happy to.
Okay. In Jamestown this afternoon, they're having the soapbox derby down by Diedrich Park down there.
Well, I'll be. Huh.
And you don't want a wet course for the soapbox derby. It's this afternoon down there. At the, I think it's the Sinatra Hill or Sinatra Race Lane or something down there.
Sounds like fun. Well, we've got so many wonderful things going on around here.
There is.
Not to mention the Civil War encampment in Westfield right now.
That's correct.
And all the farmers markets everywhere. Fresh produce.
Yep. Well, listen, I think you ought to donate an anchor to the ferry so that it can get back in operation.
My anchor, unfortunately, my son-in-law, who will go unnamed, threw the anchor over on his new boat, and it wasn't attached.
That's not the first time that ever happened.
Okay, Guy, thanks a lot for the call, and again, give me the final word on the boat museum.
The boat museum is open, I believe, from 1 to 5 or 1 to 7 on Fridays, and it's open on the weekends, probably from 11 to 7.
Over in Bemis.
And the cost is, I think it's $5 a person, but the best deal is if you got 3 kids, the whole family goes for $10, and that amounts to $2 per person. It's a bargain for $1 million museum, believe me.
You cannot beat that. Thank you very much, and you have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you, now, Reed. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. The boat museum is big. I'm glad he met. We were talking about the Stowe Ferry. It's just insanity what they're doing, what these people are. And the guy says, the inspector says, well, I'm sorry, all boats are the same. What?
No.
I'm sorry, if it's attached to a cable and goes back and forth for a century, it ain't the same as somebody's steamboat running up and down the lake.
There you go.
You know?
That's right, Reed. That's correct.
Well, they're all the same to me. I think these people, well, it's not so much the inspector. I forgive the inspector because I was told that he wasn't the one who was tight on this one. It's a state. State of New York, you know, the vampire state, as we call it. And the regulations here are getting worse and worse and worse.
It gets harder to stay in business here because all those people have to justify their jobs.
Right, and they just do it by passing memos back and forth.
There you go.
And holding meetings are meaningless, and then passing regulations which are utterly, outrageously crazy, just to show that they have the authority and they're supposedly doing something, like having an anchor on the Stowe Ferry. Give me a break. Tell me something. You used to have a pancake supper over there. What happened to that breakfast?
Well, again, it got to be such a cumbersome thing.
What's cumbersome, you mean?
The state regulations.
Oh, the state again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ag and Markets used to inspect my pancake house because we're only open a few hours a week, a few weeks of the year.
Right.
Well, they came in and they either didn't charge me at all or they charged me $15 and they told me that it was a state-of-the-art operation, surpassed anything they needed, and go ahead. Well, then some other state entities decided they should be in charge, and the costs went to hundreds of dollars. And between the filings for Social Security, for workers' comp, for disability, for sales tax, you have to have an accountant to do all that. So you have the cost of that too. And between the licenses, the fees, the inspections, the testing, And all of those filings, it just took all the
In other words,
profit.
the state is basically making it impossible to start a business here.
I am not a full-service, full-time restaurant. It just became so hard and so difficult and so time-consuming, it was easier to close the door than stay in business. And believe me, I get calls, it's been 2 years, I still get calls every day for the pancakes.
To serve a few
lot of people
pancakes?
came from
Sheesh.
Buffalo, Erie, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, just for the pancakes.
That sounds crazy. That's
And-
the state of New York for you.
Yes, and so those people don't come for the pancakes anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they still come to the county. I'm sure some of them do because they realize it's a beautiful place to be.
Okay.
But we are not doing pancakes. However, my gift shop is still open every single day in the summertime. And I still sell the fruit syrups and the maple products.
Yeah, we'll talk
and-
about that
yeah.
a little more. I want
Yeah.
to elaborate on that. We got a couple of calls, so let's take a call.
Okay.
I got one call for you. Morning, caller. Thank you for waiting.
Not only did it affect your business, but it affected the business of some young people because I know of at least one person that used to babysit for your grandchildren while your son and daughter worked there on the weekends. So it spreads forever. And of course, she didn't earn the money, so she couldn't go buy things that she would have been buying. And again, it goes on and on and on. I do have a comment about the ferry. I think I might have a solution for that.
Okay. What's a solution for what, first
This
of
is
all?
kind of a tongue-in-cheek solution for the Stowe Ferry.
Yeah.
As a child, I was probably about 14 at the time, on a challenge, I swam across the from Bemis Point to Stowe. And I had my little nickel clutched with me as I swam, and I lost it was a nickel to ride the ferry at the time. And I lost my nickel on my way over, so I had to swim back, too. So I think that in order to make it not have to have all these rules, anybody who goes on the ferry has to know how to swim. Because if the ferry sinks, it's not like sinking out in the middle of a big strait or something. It's a very short little thing, and almost anybody who's in any kind of health could swim it.
And it's shallow. You can almost walk ashore.
Exactly. and as to having lifeboats, I think inner tubes would probably suffice.
It's a crazy thing. It's just craziness. So the state of New York is so strapping us with crazy, insane, meaningless regulations that they're just driving business out of this state as fast as they can. And they're telling us we need more business.
Well, we do need more business because
Yeah.
the ones that are leaving.
So why are we chasing them away?
Yes, and getting back to what Mrs. Black was talking about, her restaurant. It was quite well known. I had friends that came from northeastern Pennsylvania to have breakfast there, and it was plus the scenic, the lake.
Oh, I understand.
Going along the lake and so forth. It really was.
Well, my class of '57, I might add, had its 50th class reunion 5 years ago, and we went down there and had some delicious pancakes as a class, and then she had to close it down, and so we canceled the next reunion. There is no reunion this year for the class of '57.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding. I'm speaking dead truth.
I didn't know that your reunion, because I was thinking about the class of '57. I happen to know some people in the class of '57, and I was thinking that because I have another family member who's having a reunion for the class of '62.
Yeah.
So it started me thinking about the 5-year increments and so forth.
Yeah, I know. We're locked in.
Coming right up.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry that your class isn't having it.
Well, there's no pancakes.
Well,
The hell with it.
the thing is, there might not be any pancakes for anybody. As we get older, the class is going to get smaller for different reasons than the fact that the pancakes had to be closed down.
Yeah, a lot of move out
It
of.
might be good to get together while you can.
Yeah, a lot of us move out of town. I know.
That is true.
Quite a distance sometimes.
So, that is true. That is true. So,
Well,
but
no.
anyways, my comment was it's about as ridiculous as my comment was about swimming. That it's just it's ludicrous.
It is. Thank you very much, caller, for your information. I will give you a $5 gift certificate, cash gift certificate, if you buy something at the Lakeview. If you would send me a stamped self-addressed envelope. It's that beautiful little restaurant at the foot of the hill in Mayville. They have 2 restaurants. One is Valentino's, and I think they have fish there. They're wonderful fish dinners. And then they have the other one, which is
Well, I've
terrific.
eaten at both of them, and more often at the Lakeview, but I will attest to they have excellent food. Excellent.
Oh, they have a salad bar that's going to kill you. I tell you, I love salad bars, and I just eat a salad bar when I go. That's all I need. That salad bar has everything I ever dreamed of in a salad. I can't think of anything else.
Well, it is true. I tend to go to the salad bar, but I usually order the fish or something too.
Yeah,
but I
Maybe-
can't ever eat it all because the salad bar is very,
What's
very
up,
good.
Gail?
Maybe some hen of the woods mushroom on your salad.
Aha, true, true.
Okay, well, there you go. She found that right down where Pavo was buried, I might add.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Well, he's probably
Keeping an eye on things.
yes, and giving the mushroom good roots
You betcha.
nutrients.
Thank you, caller.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's quite a place down there. Now, what do you sell? You have these sugar. You make maple syrup too, don't you?
Yes, we make maple.
You're tapping-
Robert does.
Okay, you're tapping
maple,
the
my
same
son.
trees that I tapped in some
That's
cases.
correct.
I know
yes,
that.
Yes.
And I didn't use formaldehyde plugs either.
No, we don't either. No. And Robert has it all on tubing now.
Uh-huh. Well, that's great.
New York State tested for lead and maple syrup and found the source to be the old galvanized sap buckets. Galvanized is 30% lead by nature.
That is, so you
And the
don't want to
state
use
of New
them.
York suggested everyone go to tubing, so he put a tubing system in there several years ago.
It saves trotting all over the place collecting the
Yes,
buckets,
it's
too.
very easy. He has a wonderful system. All of the sap drains to the lowest point and then is pumped up to the evaporator.
Into a giant galvanized evaporator.
Well, he pumps it up to a 1,000-gallon tank in the barn, which gravity feeds the evaporator.
And then you have to, when I used to boil it down, I was not very serious, because it takes 40 gallons of sap
Yes.
just to give you a gallon of good maple syrup.
That's correct. That's right.
And you can buy it for, I think it's $35 in the park at the farmer's market by the
Could
gallon.
be. It
for
could
35
be.
bucks.
There's a new method that people do it with reverse osmosis, and they're able
Yeah,
to make
right.
30 gallons an hour. We still do the old method because we believe the flavor and the color is better, and so we only make 3 gallons an hour. And ours is more expensive, but it has better flavor and
Yeah,
better
there is
color.
definitely a difference in flavor.
Yes, there is.
And I remember I used to like the old dark.
Yes, Grade B Dark is
Grade
my
B
favorite.
dark.
I
Oh,
love
boy,
that.
It had such a flavor to it.
It's
It was
full fla-
cheaper too. People wanted
Well,
the nice, light, pretty
it's the same
stuff. You know.
price anymore, but it's delicious.
It
It
is.
really is good. And we have light amber, medium, dark, and the Grade B.
How many gallons does he crank out there of maple syrup?
Well, this year was not as good a year because of the warm winter.
Oh,
But we never know completely because we sell it as fast as we make it in the beginning. And when we do that, we don't know how many gallons there were that went out the door that fast.
Okay, the grapes. Speaking of the grapes, now you down along the lake, you pretty much escaped the big freeze, right?
We completely escaped the big freeze at Vinewood Acres, and this is the second time that happened. I bought the grapes in front of the house in 1972, and that year there was a freeze. Many people lost their grapes, and we did not. That piece of grapes that you see on your screen right now
That is her place right there.
escaped the frost this year. So did my quinces, my pears, my apples, my peaches, my currants. My currant bushes are loaded with currants. They're hanging to the ground with currants that are now getting ripe.
Okay.
The frost just missed us. It's a phenomenal thing.
Yeah, but just across the road, up a little ways.
They lost a lot.
They
and
lost
you know,
the first row.
there's no sense to the whole thing. I feel so sorry for those who lost their crop because they have just as much work in it as we do. And we feel very lucky to have our crop.
Well, now, if you, they did suffer freeze, which
Yeah.
killed the buds, and they had to grow new buds, second growth they
It
call it.
killed the primary buds,
Right.
and they grew secondary buds, which has a smaller crop. But then there was a frost that killed many of the secondary buds. Then
Oh.
the tertiary buds do not have a crop, but they nourish the plant.
They just keep
grow
it
the
going
leaves that
for
keep
next
the
year.
plant growing.
Yeah, well, I hear they lose about half the crop with the secondary.
Yes, they did.
Growth,
Yeah,
because,
I think I heard an estimate from someone that is associated with Welch's that said it was between 60 and 80% of the grape crop.
Oh boy, that's a
So,
disaster.
I don't know, that's hearsay. I
Well,
don't know for
Kathy
sure.
Young, I noticed in the papers,
It's
is
devastating.
trying to get help for this, federal help as well as state aid.
There's
And
so
then-
much money that goes into the pruning and the care of those vines. Whether there's a crop or not, you still have to take care of the trunk and the vine and the root system. So there's still terrific expense to keep that resource in our area, to keep those vines alive so that they'll maybe produce next year. And I say maybe because farmers in every venue are at the mercy of the weather and forces that they can't control.
Right, well, Kathy's trying to get money from the state and declare
She does a
this
good job.
agricultural disaster fund applicant. And we really did have